Hey, welcome back. It's the Alternative Perspectives Podcast, the APP 868.
Yep.
Hey, the 868 in the name.
How we talk about it?
Right? I just want to put that there.
Letting you know where we come from.
Right. Yeah, we jumping into this week. This week it wasn't so busy. There's a few strong situations. I mean, but not much topics, but a few things that I think was heavy. I would say heavy.
And we dealing with some struggling issues from last week.
Yeah, some struggling issues as well. Before we jump in, the bad boys at TikTok, we are here. So apparently right now, a lot of people on TikTok carrying a lot of hate for us for saying Trinidad and Tobago Carnival isn't the greatest show on the face of this earth. People say we should go and live Brazil, even though we were saying that, hey, if Brazil gets Soca, which is Trinidad and Tobago music, their shit gonna be better, right?
Right. Yeah. What we were saying was that it's the greatest party, right? And we were saying that as much as Brazil might have a much grander spectacle to observe, we have more vibes. I was mentioning that might be changing a little bit because some of the videos I sent the video from Major Lazer, and I look pretty street party-ish now. Again, there's some Portuguese music me don't know.
Yeah.
And I carry it. You know what I mean? I guess for them it would be fun, but to me it would look like, I prefer to hear Marshall or Cohen Dubois while I jamming.
We want the movement and we splendid in Portuguese and them we moving their foot. It's moving in a waistline. They grind.
Yeah. So that's what we were saying. But in terms of the terminology of greatest show on earth makes it seem as if you come to, or even if you're living here and you look at it, you'll be seeing something on a much grander scale than you'd see anywhere else. And that quite simply isn't true. Which
I don't know if some of these people have never left here, if they never went to a Broadway show, if they never went, even Labor Day was, Labor Day Parade. I'm not saying it's a better show than what we have, right? But that is even set up more like a show. Is they barricade on the whole parkway and is the masqueraders and the trucks inside the parkway and it's kind of organized and people just had to look on. You really get to participate now, right? But nevertheless, I was wondering, is it that these people, they never went anywhere? They I don't know what it is.
Listen, I just think people first, there are certain, for some people, let me be fair to some people. Some people have emotional triggers, right? And one of them is when you diss something that they feel is theirs, right? At that point, it doesn't even matter if it's true. Even if it's true, they find they shouldn't say it. Right? Because if I'm Trinidad, they shouldn't say that. You should just go along with what everybody else is saying and just pick it up, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. You shouldn't critique it. So, and it is a trigger for them when they hear people say them kind of things. So they're just kind of emotionally charged. And then I think there are those people who just don't know. They don't know that they're... And not just to say they're much grander things, but... And one of the articles I sent you was a editorial, a letter to the editor in the Express, where the woman was kind of expressing the same sentiments I was expressing last week, that I find something was off-ball this Carnival, right? And she said, she's speaking to lots of foreigners, and all of them said, well, listen, there ain't nothing special here, and I could get this elsewhere for cheaper, right? So even if I'm not saying crop over is a bigger thing than Trinidad Carnival, but if all we have is just soca jamming in the street and bead and bikini, then you could get that anywhere. And a season of fetes. The fetes are almost the same now. The fetes, they follow the same template. Some of the same promoters that here in they're not so much in Grenada because they're kind of keeping them out of there, but in Barbados, the fetes in Grenada might even be better than here. You've said on a number of occasions that they're better than
here. And then in Miami,
then Caribana,
then Jamaica now,
then Jamaica, they're everywhere.
Right.
And those foreigners are saying, well, okay, listen, if I'm just going to come and see a plane to play mass and go to a street party and fetes, I could do that anywhere. There isn't much, as a matter, and I keep telling you this, the last crop over I went to, the complaint that I kept hearing from Bajans was that they no longer have crop over. They have Trinidad Carnival in the summer. Right? So in other words, they are not recognized that they're just replicating what is happening here. They are all feel they're losing the essence of their specific carnival. So is it crazy to say that everywhere else you could, you could go elsewhere and get a sort of an experience?
So now, one of the things I regret is that the last Grenada Carnival I wasn't into videography and thing yet. Because if I was, I would definitely pick up my camera. Because I asked a lot of people while I was there, right?
Yeah.
Like, how long you come to Grenada Carnival? You know, you should come to Trinidad Carnival. Do you come to Trinidad Carnival? And so many of them say, nah, we stop coming to Trinidad Carnival. One, it's too expensive. Two, the vibes just not up there. You understand? They find it too stushy. I remember...
Any time of the year.
Right? Well, nobody said that at that point in time. At that time, right? I remember, in my game, I can tell you, they say we just sing Boys to Men Soca.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's one of the things they were saying. Now they sing Boys to Men Soca.
Yeah, R&B Soca.
Yeah, R&B Soca, basically, right? And the thing is, like some people obviously didn't read it well, didn't listen well, and talking about Trinidad Carnival is the biggest carnival. And I was like, I never say it's not the biggest carnival. It's the biggest carnival.
Yeah.
Now,
biggest West Indian style carnival. Yeah. It's not bigger than Rio, but, by any stretch of the imagination, it does have more visitors, it does have more participants, it does have more activity, none of that. Right. But in terms of this kind of...
this kind of carnival,
yes, it is the biggest of in the world. Yes.
And that is only because Jamaica really pick up carnival. Because Jamaica have more people, so if they buy into that wholesale,
yes. And that's the point that we are trying to make is that if we do not try to differentiate ourselves, if we don't try to work on what makes us unique and improve the product that we have, then other people are going to capitalize. They're going to leverage what they have to their advantage. In the case of Jamaica, my fear is that they, being a much bigger cultural phenomenon in the Caribbean, they can just come and take it away from them.
Right? And obviously, cultural phenomenon for their culture and also their tourist destination. Their beaches, their Dunge River Fall, all these things. I mean, they have way more to offer, right?
Yes.
So I was telling Corey that up to today, talking to Corey from the Corey Shepherd podcast, and I was telling him, one of the things that are going to be hard for them to catch up with is, you see the bigger mass, like the kings and queens mass, and that kind of thing. I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's something that they are way behind. Steel pan. These are the things that we would need to kind of we do a little more with to keep them out of our, to stay ahead of them in the game.
Yes, but we aren't doing that because it's hard work to do that. What we trying to push is the party. We trying to push is the biggest. It's a street party. That's what they're coming here for. And I mean, I understand why that. Obviously, that will appeal to a much larger crowd. I'm not an artsy person, so I couldn't give a rat's ass about king and queen of mass. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect the people, but that's just not my thing. I don't like mass, period. Even when mass was far more elaborate than it is now, I would never go in a North Stand and watch bands go across the stage because I'm not into that. So I understand why they feel like, it's easier to just appeal to the people who just want to come and party. But the problem with that is that can be easily replicated. And and one of the drawbacks, as I was pointing out with the time of year, right? A lot of the people, friends and acquaintances I have from abroad who've never been to Trinidad Carnival, they always say that time of the year, they just took vacation for the during the winter for Christmas or something. They're not going to get time off to come to Trinidad, right? And it's just easier for them to go to Crop Over or Antigua Carnival.
And then the next thing, like, if you have children, right? You can't just pick up yourself and leave the children and come Trinidad.
Exactly.
But the children will be on vacation during the
August holidays.
Yeah, during the August holidays as well. So
you understand? So that's another. So other carnivals they can leverage those things to their advantage, and they could push us out of the space, or not push us completely out of the space, but sideline us easily.
And the thing is, people will think, well, we could never sideline me.
It's stupid. That's what they think. Because it's stupid. They don't know nothing.
Even if we get a real sideline, if less tourists start to touch on here, is less money.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Less money is more boss fed. Less people making money is pressure.
Yeah.
If people start to spend that money, say, but you see this thing going through this. First of all, because as the lady said in the article, right? Everything was expensive.
Yeah.
Everything was expensive.
Yes.
Right? If people started, because horse, you could go and play all-inclusive mass in Grenada for $350 US.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're looking at $1,000 US.
1,000 flush.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Barbados started to get a little out of hand last time I went in terms of prices, but I mean,
But to be fair, Barbados is already an expensive place. Eh?
But isn't Grenada?
Nah, boy. Nah.
Oh,
Grenada, no.
I thought Grenada was like as expensive. Because other small islands, because the small economies, it tend to be more expensive than here.
Nah, not like Barbados, boy. Barbados real expensive, boy.
Yeah, Barbados loud. But, I mean, you could have still gone to, if you want to call it, classical, or not classical, that's the wrong word, traditional Bajan fetes, and pay 50 US, 40 US when last time I went, which was way back in 2016, right? You could have still touched a Bajan fete, not booze cruise or not when we started over there and Scorch and Private Ryan and them sort of take over the people thing. I don't know, you could have gone to a Bajan fete, and pay around about 40, 50 US. I don't know what the prices are now. I suspect everywhere will get more expensive now because, inflation is a crazy thing all over the world. But I think in terms of, because those other islands are more accustomed to dealing with large influxes of tourists, the economy is based on tourism, so they will hardly ever have problems for accommodation and so on.
Yeah.
I think you could probably get a much cheaper experience in general to go to those countries.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen fetes in Grenada, the regular Grenadian fetes, because they have all kind of Trinidad fetes across there now, but not the tribe type ones, right? So, and I should like DJ Sin have a party across there, right? But I've seen parties 40 EC, which is 250 multiplied by 250. That's $100. Yeah, basically 100 TT. Right. You understand? Yeah, and you get to see most of the acts from Grenada Carnival for that year. Yeah. So whoever I saw it, TikTok people very interested.
I mean, look, when you're saying that just now, nothing could ever sideline me. That's when I don't mean to sound harsh and say them they just stupid. They just, but that is a response that is not based in anything other than emotion. That's just what you feel. Yeah, but in reality, anything could happen.
Yeah. There's people who do understand business. Yeah, like one of you guys today, I started in a little back and forth in the conversation. I keep telling myself, you're going on. We so dance, right? Because they say we dance, all kind of thing, right? I say, well, here to do, make a video and teach us. Because I realize you don't make any content at all. Right. So all you want to do is come here and criticize other people making content. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, I didn't even go into, and I was telling Corey this today, them who talking, Horse, you sat down with Sprang for many years and talk about the history of Carnival, where it was to where it came. I remember we was having a conversation with Sprang. I remember Sprang was saying that at a point in time where the uppity people used to be on I don't want to call it floats. It used to be like...
Yeah, it was floats. They were floats. They were on the truck. They were
on the truck.
Yeah.
You understand?
And the commoners were on the ground. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that was the other way around.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Well, like, going back that way, you see...
there's an air-conditioned truck and all
and then no, so it had these...
celebrities on truck and...
Nah, not that, So, you see, they have some drinks, carts, that is pushing through the bigger bands this year for Carnival.
Okay.
And all them hot girl and them climb on the cart and them man and them had to push the cart. I don't know like how them fellas and them, like I mean, I don't know, like tribe and them must have real needles in them workers. Because dog, it's real girl on this little cart. Right. And it's shaking up the cart. And them fellas and them pushing this cart in tongue. It don't not easy to push them cart on the Trinidad road, dog. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so
you gotta push with all that weight.
With all that weight and shaking up and whining and
you're not whining. They're not whining on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, unless you're just enjoying the bumpers in your face kind of thing. Yeah. So I think we might see the floats coming back. I feel and tribe, that could be the front line now. But if you want to play front line, you could go up on a float.
Yeah.
What chance you?
Well, like how Brazil Carnival is, where you have to be a performer, you have to be... You don't just buy a costume and participate just so. You have to be part of some troop or crew that is be practicing for the event and thing.
Like the only part thing you get here is just you have to have money and that's it. You can do what you want. That's what I'm saying. You can do what you want.
It might be something. So, but what are you saying, Mod Sprang?
Yeah, no, I just saying that, I wouldn't go into that conversation with these people who trying to say we don't know nothing about Carnival and Carnival history because you all don't know us from anywhere. I think that's when the next things with TikTok is that people just see her and they wouldn't say, well, let me go through some more videos Which is weird. Like, if I see something on TikTok, I just always say, let me go into this profile and hear more of this person. Now, I mean, if you're real Gaza and you're talking real craziness, you understand what I'm saying? Then I wouldn't bother. Like, especially if you're real Gaza, because you could have, as I say, you could have an opinion that could be different from mine, but you're saying it respectfully, you're saying it, normal. I would say, let me hear some other things this person talk about. Because you'll never agree with everything somebody says, right? Then we'll be robots. You understand? Yeah. Life will not have any kind of variety, nothing like that. Yeah. And these people just, dog, you're the worst person if you say this earth, you're dang, you're this.
Well, listen, there are two things I'd say about that. Number one, well, I kind of disagree. I would not necessarily, I don't feel you need to put what I'm saying about this now into context by watching other. I think you can have an opinion independent. You can have an independent opinion of what I just said. Right? And
no, but the thing is, my thing is, you could feel a way about what I say by talking about to call me names.
Well, no, well, yes, but they will call you names. They don't even really know if you're done or not. They're just trying to insult you. You know, so they say hurt people, let's hurt people. Right. Well, when you tell them about the carnival, they get hurt. And so they want to hurt you back. Right. So they're saying these awful things to you. And also go, you're not in the face and to cough them down. So that is one. And the other thing is, I mean, I don't even understand what the history of Carnival has to do with this.
Because, a matter of fact, we are moving further away from the history. And this is what blowing my mind. I don't know why.
And it's not we just complain about that. The stalwarts of the culture complain about that every single year. Every single year, they have the camboulet and they have to push it. And remember when you used to work at TTT, this year they did it again. TTT do all sorts of productions on the camboulet to try to educate people. Nobody not on that. Nobody not on that. You understand what I'm saying?
And that is a show.
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? And that is part of the problem. Again, that's not we saying that. The cultural stalwarts they complain all the time that we're moving away from that. But what does the history of Carnival have to do with the statement that at present it is not the greatest show on it? If you call somebody from Norway, if Norwegian come, see this. They come and they're watching it. Nah, I don't find this impressive. Yeah, but you have to understand. Remember, this all came from the breakaway from slavery. I hear all that, I know, but I'm just not impressed. Does that change the Norwegian's mind? No, it doesn't. If he goes and he goes to let me not say Brazil, because I go tricking them. Let's say he goes to Miami and he finds, this is all right. Now this is amazing. I've seen much better costumes. The cultural shows are much more entertaining. This just seems like a much better experience. Where you go tell him? He's stupid because he don't understand the history. Because again, that is not the context of what we're talking about. That's not within the context of what we're saying here now. Is it the greatest show on earth or not? It's not. And okay, first of all, why is that even such a big deal to you?
I don't understand that either way, dog boy.
Why would, whether that statement was even remotely true or not, like, what difference does that make? Like, why does that trigger you so much? You know what I'm saying? If we have a problem with visitors, which we may very well have, if we have a problem with, just the general public in Trinidad and Tobago not really participating in Carnival anymore, okay, well, these are the things that we should be concerned about. But whether or not it stays true to this moniker of greatest show on earth, I mean, you're going to sit down and lose brain cells over that, lose sleep over that.
Yeah, well, apparently they are. But the thing is, pertaining to the visitor thing you're talking about, right? Apparently what they were saying is that in the TTT broadcast, they were saying that they keep saying that people not coming out in the stands to support by the stage now.
Right.
For Carnival Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
There's low attendance from tourists.
Right.
And Corey made a good point long time. The real white people used to see. You remember?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I remember we were saying that as well. Are we seeing tourists or are we seeing just foreign-based locals?
Right.
Who part of the diaspora.
Right. Who working hard, winter, spring, summer.
Right.
And they want the opportunity to Lego.
To come home.
And party hard.
Jam. Yes.
Right? And they come and they party hard. Because at the end of the day, you cannot, unless you pay real close attention, right? And you have to pay real close attention to humor, tribe, whatever, and the costumes. A person walking on the road in a costume, you cannot determine which band they're playing.
Right. Or I will say which band they're playing with. you can't determine, you can't even start to guess what is the theme of the band.
Yeah.
You can't begin to guess like, all right, what is that? That is an ocean theme. There's something to do with the ocean. I've seen everybody has something look like a fish. Nope. You can't tell what was the idea behind the band at all.
The theme is Bam Bam. The theme is Bam Bam and boobies.
Exactly. That's what it is, right? And listen, that's okay. But is that a show?
Yeah, is that
if it's the greatest show on earth, would they struggle to get people to come and sing in the grandstand and watch?
Here going on, I was going to get a better one. All the clowns on TikTok who vexed that I said that Trinidad and Tobago Carnival is not the greatest show on it, right? If they were to put the entire parade behind a paywall, would you pay to see it? If it's the greatest show on earth, you as a Trinidadian should be first to want to pay to see it.
Yes.
You know what? Nah. Because why not go in the grandstand? Get a pay to go in the grandstand. Right?
Oh, they don't even come out on the road no more.
You understand?
They don't even come out on the road and watch the match. Okay, you can say they wouldn't go and pay to go in the grandstand. They go and pay to go in the north stand. Okay, that's a money thing. And no money. But they don't come out and watch. You understand? If they're not playing mass, they're home watching TV. You understand?
Netflix.
Exactly. They're not watching the mass on the TV. They're watching Netflix. You understand where I come from? So, oh gosh, dog, what are we really talking about? If it's a great show, then people would line up to see it. Trinidadians, the foreigners would have to come and fight to get a squeeze in. But we born and grow here and don't care about that. If we not on the road jamming people, we're not really interested, bro. We're not really interested. So what is the show?
I don't know
these
about
people retarded, but they just, as I say, they're easily triggered. They hear something, because you're dissing it, and we's part-time patriots.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? When it come to shit like this, we say, thing and red, white, and black, blah 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 blah. But they wouldn't put their petty racism aside to seek the country's interest. They wouldn't put their petty political
or
biases
tribalism,
aside. But there's patriot. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah, I want to talk about, as we touching on this carnival topic, dabbling it a little bit, road march. And I want to touch on it from different angles, not just the Bunji thing, but why we still doing this stage march thing is confusing to me. This is something that I was fighting against since I was on radio. Like, why are we still doing this stage march thing? My thought process years ago was have the people who check in the songs in random places, people don't know who they are, and they check to see what really playing on the road because it is very easy to kind of rig, if you want to call it that, or kind of set up how this will go when all you're checking is by the stage, right? Then, last Carnival, I had the privilege of working with a company called Celia Audio, and what they did is put devices on trucks, on the music trucks, to record with songs played, how many times it played, and whatnot, right? That's a real easy way to figure out what song played the most on the road. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, all bands, the DJs had to be registered and had to have that software.
But the thing is, how we did it is the software is taking our output from the mixing board. So the DJs don't even know.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is, the reason why, I know that's how it works, but what I'm saying is, it's just known that that's the process. So you can't come on the road and play if you're not, if you're not signed on to this particular agenda program.
And the thing is, the good thing with what we were doing is we weren't dealing with the DJs. So the DJs can impact this now.
Right.
We go in directly before the DJs come to the trucks, and we deal with the song men, right? The song engineers, right? And we install our equipment. So when the DJs come, they do not more us, they are us to pay. They just do their thing. So nobody can say, oh God, it has something in monitoring. You understand what I'm saying? Like we try and...
But I mean, if it monitors all the time, it still can't do nothing.
Yeah, right?
Is either you don't play the song people want to hear, or you just... You do the sensible thing and play music, and whoever win.
Yeah. So, that's something that I was wondering, why are we still fighting over the stage match situation? And I think coming away from that, we could get more good music.
No, okay. You see, but that is the problem I have, right? That is the problem I have. I don't think necessarily that it impacts the quality of music that we get. The reason why I don't have a problem with it being a stage match is because I feel as if people don't understand what the road march is supposed to be. You understand? You could make music. For instance, Bunji did not make that song to be a
road march song. Right?
He just made that song.
Bunji and Fay-Ann.
Right, we'll get to that. Right? They just made a song, right? And it ended up being road march. If you had set out to make a road march, you had to make something, a stage march, you had to make something else, right? But the stage march music could exist in the same space as the jump up music, right? And okay, the jump up song didn't win road march, but so what? It was still popular. You get bookings, you made money over the whole season. And the song that people feel is what they want to, because remember, I shouldn't say remember, but because I don't know if this is if this really has to do with the origin of it. But at least when I was younger, what people used to view the road march as was their favorite song to represent the costume. When I say represent the costume, because remember when you're crossing the stage, this is when you are performing. Right. You are performing for the people in the stands, this is the climax of the whole thing. And there is a particular kind of song you want to hear when you're doing that. And so, okay, fine. And that could be recognized. As well as the jump, whoever song which is bad would be recognized for the whole season. Right. So I don't necessarily have a problem with them judging it by the stage. It's just I think it's people's association. People have this connection with the road march, and they get so emotionally invested in it. And it's like, I think that is the problem, not how they're judging it or what they do. It's just because the reason why people have a big problem now is because they would say, yeah, but that was a better song and it didn't get around. Okay, so it didn't win road march. So what? Right.
No, I agree with what you're saying there, but I think one of the problems we start to face is that what's starting to happen now, and it could be poor practices by DJs, right? Is the DJs now, they start to kind of listen to hear what's real road march contenders, right? And then they kind of like push the rest of fast music aside. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Because they want to focus on the quote-unquote road march songs.
And why?
I don't know. That's his pop. It could be poor practices.
What is get out of that?
I don't know. Fame. I
don't know. Like, and the fets leading up to the carnival is they just have a set of road march. They have a road march tune set.
Yeah.
We doing that for? Why you? I mean, I guess if you're not creative and you feel like it's a way to build an argument in a fet, because again, they are really feeding off of people's like investment in the road march thing, because when they play a set that they think is a road march set, they kind of like getting the crowd into, well, which one all they want? All they tell me which one. So they kind of feeding off of that dotish energy we just project when they come to road march. But I don't understand why they're doing that.
No, one of the things I've seen people posting on social media recently is like the fets after Carnival now, they're like, hey, here we go. We understand that only real like Bunji had fet and Nyla come home, but we fed a bit now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Well, they could play some other music now. Carnival done, road march done win. Well, they could play some other music now, boy, because you had a couple parties that last lap. Last jam, sorry. It had a party named Last Lap. It had a party called Last Jam. It had one or two boat rides for like foreigners mainly, right? After the carnival. And some of the foreigners like, I had Trinidad DJs, listen, I understand. But hey, we don't know who went it already. Give me some more music now. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And I think this kind of road march thing, that kind of create a toxic vibe behind the music too now, boy. And it's just like, hey.
I think they should just do away with it, period. Because I think once you put competition in anything, that kind of toxicity, people can't help it. They can't help getting emotionally invested and making it into a scene and an argument. And so I think you should just do away with it.
Right, I understand.
Do away with it. I mean, you might be tempted to give something like a song of the year, and maybe we could have like Soca awards. And we did start having those. Yeah, and what happened to that?
Well, the people who was doing that, may not have been the best people with the best amount of credibility to be doing such.
Was that doing that again?
It's a guy named CJ was involved in it. I think they used to say like Gypsy's son. I don't know how true it was. Oh. That's what they tell me. He used to be at the station. he and he used to be by the station with Charlo. Remember Charlo?
Yeah.
Two of them used to pump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right? But you know, to that point, even with Soca Monarch, right? And I don't know, this is something I'm putting out there. I don't know if this is the right way, the best way to go forward. Just like how Americans just check the value of their music. Well, of course, you have the top 100 charts or whatever, right? But then you have sales now, boy.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to be checking these things based on sales or downloads, you think that could improve the soca industry and
I'm not sure, because I think that could have its problems too. Because in attempting to get streams, they might think, okay, well, it's younger people to stream music, right? We had to start catering to them, and the younger crowd might have different demands of soca artists. Then you might find some of the same zest,
craziness,
same zest soca we was afraid of making its way into the thing. That might become more prevalent. I think once whatever music should be appreciated organically. Make music and let it play. You'll know what people like because you'll see what get bookings in feds. You'll see what, yes, we know the mafia does fights and things, whatever. But in general, if you tune big and monstrous, you'll get through. And if we want to recognize quality work in the soca, we could move ahead with the soca awards and have, just like have the Grammys.
Have a soca awards the Saturday night, dog. After Carnival.
Yeah. And have and you see the thing is because that is not going to be a prize that is going to be as it don't have the same connotation as the road march. I'm not gonna be giving out money. You know what I mean? You're not gonna give no prize, no 2 million for the song of the year, whatever. You're just gonna recognize them by giving them an award. And maybe a small token, a small prize, or whatever. If you do that, then you're not going to have, men ain't going to be thinking about that. They'll make the music, and then if they get nominated and get recognized, they get recognized. You know what I'm saying? Just like how you're supposed to make music. So I think if they want to recognize music, they could do it that way. Other than that, and yes, they'll have to have some kind of qualification. Because just like with the Grammys, you have to qualify by selling a certain number of units or whatever. Although I don't even know if that's in place, because some of the people winning Grammys,
you never heard a song before.
Never hear about them. I never heard a song. I never heard of them. You know what I mean? But however it is they're going to do that, however they decide to qualify you, they should qualify people and then just have the awards given out. And let's just take the competition thing out of it completely. So they have no bacchanal. They have no bacchanal when it comes to that. Let's have bacchanal with, who might say a DJ fighting them or the industry, the promoters fighting them. But other than that, we're done. And
then you have People's Choice where people could vote. Right? They nominate some of them. You have about 5-6 of them, and you have People's Choice, and people vote, so the person who win People's Choice.
Right.
And that might be the real champion.
Right, exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
That might be the real. So, hey, something we could probably look into.
Yeah. And have that be the way the songs are. If we feel we still need to recognize the songs.
So, talking about the bacchanal and thing, right? Like, same road marching we were talking about. Now, I don't know if you knew, but many years ago, people from other countries could have won road march in Trinidad. I think 2 people from other countries won road march in Trinidad. And then certain people put pressure on Tuco. Some people call some people names from who put pressure on Tuco. I don't want to be the one to call them names.
Right.
Let the people sleep, let the people rest in peace. Right? But certain Calypsonian put pressure on Tuco to change that. Right? And what the person was also telling me, because they were saying that they find Tuco just kind of change a tune, according to how it go and who pressure them to do what. You understand? According to who do what. Well, this is acceptable now. Yeah, we go take this. Right. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just, looking at the Bunji and Fay-Ann situation, because a lot of people were confused. I don't want to say vex. I think Bunji think people is vexed. Bunji think whatever, and Bunji started to talk about all kind of thing about different type of people. And,
yeah. But I agree with Corey. I don't think he right now.
Right?
I don't think those were, or even if those words were expressed by him, I think they flew. They they flowed through him.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
He had I don't know if he had a Thanksgiving or something. I never saw the video.
Yeah, you saw
and
the video.
Yeah, and he was talking, and he said, "Oh, why he go stick behind Fay-Ann? Because sometimes there's any promenade when he was down,
Yeah.
and a woman say, Faye, you can leave him now." And he said, "Well, yeah," and she didn't leave him, and that was staying. Bridget, if that was staying, Bridget. That's interesting. But
I just know. I just want to. When I saw that, right? First of all, I was like, why is he even accepting the premise that his wife is down? Like, I don't. Okay, she's an artist, and like all artists, she's hit some years and don't hit some years, right? Unless you name Marshall, right? And even Marshall kind of didn't hit this year, right? But I don't mean you're down. It just, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't see it as like you up, she down. It's just, all right, you scored this year with your tune, and all right, she nearly scored this year. But the way, you know, like, he making her sound like a charity case.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, if, well, no, you know, she's struggling, so I had to pull. First of all, why you acknowledging, or even acknowledging, why are you giving credence to that? Even if that's what people saying, I'm not gonna come up and tell my wife down and I had to help she up now. And like, nah, I mean, if she want to describe it as that, then that's fine. But you know, always you're an artist that are part of a band together, right? So first of all, if your song is bigger this year, it don't really matter because it's Asylum Band, right? So Asylum Band scoring. When she have a tune now, okay, all right, she hasn't had a big tune in some years. Okay, fine, I get that. But okay, even if she come next year, and she could come next year easily and score, right? Asylum Band winning. So this kind of she up, I down, I up, she down. I don't understand why he took the conversation there in the first place.
Always had them conversations at home, or yeah. Let me know. You understand? Is it I always had them conversations at home, and she'd be like, "Ooh, like, baby, you're down this year, you know, I on top this." Yeah, you understand? What kind of conversation let's be having at home?
I find to even acknowledge that premise or to give credence to that premise to the public, I think that's the first mistake. If that's what people are saying, you should be like, I don't even accept that. My wife not down.
You understand? As I say, do acknowledge it. This is my wife, and that's that. We start the band. That's that.
Yeah.
She will with the band.
And the band scoring.
Right?
My tune a little bigger than it was the biggest tune, period, for this carnival, right? Okay, cool. And then next year she'll come and she tune go be bigger than that. And that's the end of the story, right? So I found that it seemed to me, as you saying, you know, like, we're really trying to say that you're sticking by her because she's stuck by you. You should just stick by her because you're your wife.
Your wife. You understand what I'm saying? You make it sound like, no, well, he are going on now. Only woman to leave she know, but no, I can't leave she because when the woman tell she to leave me, she didn't leave me. So I can't leave she know.
I'm duty bound now to stay. I'm obligated. That's how it sounds.
That would sound like
and like you have a charity case.
Yeah.
And you're extending your gratitude or your generosity to this charity case.
Yeah.
I know he thinks it sounded like he was showing his dedication to his wife or whatever, but I just found the way he brought that whole thing forward.
But because it's not to quantify the relationship, it's to put quantities to things now.
Exactly.
And make it transactional.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So and that is why it looks now like you put a name on the road match because of good boy. Faye. Ain't really hitting.
Faye when I think in years.
Yeah.
So let me get she a blind.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know what is going on in their private life. Me really care too much. You understand? We talking about this because this is a topic, right? Me really care too much. I wasn't one of the people who had any kind of. I was curious, but I didn't have any emotional attachment to whether he pushed the name, didn't push the name. Mean care. You understand? But you know, if that is how they view their relationship in a kind of like, you know, as you say, I up, you down, you know, and I had to give you a blind because you ain't really thing in a while. I just find, as I say, I don't know if that's what she wants him to do. If that is, you know, that's how they operate. Me personally, if it was me, I'd feel a way to do that. But you know, I mean, as I say,
it's a real interesting. It's a real interesting dynamic, though. Like, for one, and this was my issue with it, right? My issue with it, and my issue is now with Bunji and Fay-Ann, right? In this situation, my issue is with Tuko. I just was trying to figure out where's the standard. And based on what Tuko put out in the thing is, well, if the singer come and them ride on wherever them ride on is what we're going with. I find that to be a very vague and arbitrary standard for things like this. I mean, whether it had to be bring a cut registration so you could actually see and verify what you register the song as or whatever the case may be. Because my issue is, these things are going on in history. And you don't ever want, in this case, it might be cool because they're your wife and thing and whatever the case may be, and she, right? But you don't want this to start to get corrupted as well now, boy. You understand what I'm saying? And man start to plan, but you're going on, dog, I think you go get my 100,000, I go put on your name, so you got a road match point to your name.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, though, I hear what you're saying, but it does happen a lot, you know. Okay. You know, people talk about how Brad Pitt never won an Oscar, right? Brad Pitt has won numerous Oscars. But he's won an Oscar as an executive producer.
Right.
On films that have won Best Film. Now, I can't, you know, I don't know for sure, but I am pretty certain that Brad Pitt didn't really produce any of those things. He didn't sit down in no post-production suite, telling editing men what to do. He wasn't calling, putting the actors, the cast together. He wasn't, you know, sitting with the director. And he was, in fact, is a common thing in Hollywood that in order to get an actor attached to your project, you just give him a executive producer credit. And when you submit your film to the Oscars, to the Academy for consideration, you put the credits and you put whoever's name you choose to put as credit. Now, obviously, in those things, because money is a big thing, people would be very careful about whose name they put there, because that's ownership of the of the content and so on, and it might determine how much money you get, how much money you get. Right? But if they were all a family.
No, but you see, the thing is, when you're writing on things like that come like when you're filling out your cut form, right? Which is I understand you have to be real meticulous and very careful with that now, boy. Right? But if Tuko is saying this is not like a cut form, this has nothing to do with the real what really happens with the song, right? This doesn't really have, because that's basically what they're saying. Listen, what them come and write down is what we're going with. Not that. So, and this is my question to Tuko. So, is it that somebody could come and write something there, right? And you could not hear, know anything, and have anything to, and that person have anything to do with that song whatsoever. That person could probably not even know that song exists, but because that's what they write down, that is what you're gonna go with.
But I understand what you're saying, but what is the problem with that? Why should Tuko be concerned about that?
Because, as I say, if we supposed to want to preserve history, and we want these things to go down in history, okay, this one had 1 road match, this one had 10 road match, this one had 9 road match, or whatever the case may be, I would hope.
But don't Oscars go down in history?
Right, but... Right.
So, Brad Pitt being able to say he won an Oscar on a film he probably had nothing to do with in terms of the production. He might have been in the cast, and he won for 12 Years a Slave. I watched a movie once, it was kind of boring, I kind of fell asleep, but I could barely remember his character. Right? But he was executive producer on the film, so he goes down as an Oscar winner for that. Right,
but what I say, but he's put down as an executive producer in the film, and we not, as I say, we had a separate...
executive producer is anything, you know.
Right, I know, but what I'm saying is two separate things, because where they put them down as that.
Okay, but I understand where you're going with, but whoever owns the publishing to that film could have him as an executive producer on the credits submitted to the Academy, but not put it, he could not get a cent from whatever is the divvying up of the revenue from the film, you know?
Right.
Because if that's what they worked out,
right, if that's the agreement,
if that was the agreement. So if he simply wants to get an Oscar, if it wins an Oscar, and he says, well, you know what? Instead of giving me 10 million for the film, give me 5 million for my appearance, and put my name as executive producer. He essentially gets an unearned, let's say, Oscar.
No, listen.
And that goes on in history.
No,
so
listen. I'm fine with that if you're doing that with, let me say, somebody didn't really write a song, or didn't write much of the song, right? They just write best late entry of the century, and they put them down as a writer. Or they don't write anything at all, and they put them down as a writer. But then when Tuko takes the information, this person is credited as a writer, this one is credited as... That's fine by me, you know. My thing is, where is or I just don't want any arbitrary stuff to go there. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the thing, as I say, if you're using the court papers to just verify, whatever the case may be, what goes on here for the results for road march, or whatever the case may be, I fine with that. But I just don't want...
that could be arbitrary too.
But but at least let it have something standing somewhere else. Because... even if because the thing is, even if Cut had to get involved, if in the future some bacchanal happen and somebody, you understand what I'm saying, you had to check back, well, what really went on here? Well, at least it's somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? But when it come like this, where it's just, okay, no, Fay-Ann have an extra road match, Bunji have, extra road match, and okay, but where this was tied to?
Okay, all right, but what difference would it make if it was if he put in Cut that she was credited as a writer, and then I don't know, let's say that's most likely the case too, right. But let's say it was right, and Tuko using whatever Cut registration,
so,
but she still didn't. He said she did vocals, backup vocals. I can't hear her. You can probably not hear, right? Who knows? A producer might be able to stem it down and get her voice somewhere. Maybe that's possible. But the point is, to you, it'll still be his road match.
Right.
To me, it'll be his road match. To everybody, it'll be his road match. It doesn't matter that her name is there too.
No, as I say, I just don't want it to end up at a point where, okay, because most of the time you're registering for road match about a week before Carnival.
I didn't know it was so close.
It is be close to Carnival, right? A man say, hey boy dog boy, looking like a leading boy dog boy. But I really need that title boy. No, you would have registered a Cut song at the beginning of the season. You understand what I'm saying? A man come and said, well,
what's wrong with that?
Let me get 100,000 put on my name.
But what is wrong with that? Why does that make a difference?
Well, for one, if we're looking at history, if we're looking at foreign promoters booking people, and they said, okay, let me check to see who is the road match of 20.
But they will also check the song.
Well,
they will also check the song. They're not going to book you without knowing your song.
Well, we had no.
So and they listen to the song and be like, what party song you sing? And they'll be like, I'm not booking this man. I don't know. If he's a shit song that had no other music, then they're not going to book you. Like, be real. Nobody going to book you simply because they went on Wikipedia and saw your name accredited to a road match. They'll be like, what was his song?
Well, I mean, in Fay-Ann case, what she could be playing on is, I have 4 road match.
Right, okay.
So I'm a 4-time Trinidad, the greatest carnival in the world. I'm a 4-time road match winner.
How many players are multiple ring winners? Sergio Aguero. I don't know if you knew the bacchanal that went on in the World Cup the other day. Kun Aguero. He you know who Kun Aguero is?
Nah, right. I don't say Sergio Aguero.
Well, that's the same person.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I call him Sergio first, but Kun is his nickname, right? Right. So, he had to retire that day because he had a heart problem.
Right.
So, he was registered at the start of the World Cup qualifiers as an Argentina player, but obviously he had to be taken off, right? He wasn't on the list of players to go to the World Cup. But if he was following the World Cup, he's seen him all over the place, right? They say he was rooming with Messi, all kind of thing. He was Messi roommate in Qatar and da-da-da, because they were good partners and thing. He was involved in training, all kind of thing. He was on the field celebrating with them when they won, right? And it is being rumored that he has a World Cup medal because the Argentine squad decided to register him as part of the coaching staff.
Right.
Right? No, Kun Aguero, no coach. Right? Kun Aguero, according to the rumors, has a World Cup medal right now. And he didn't kick a ball on a field. And didn't coach a damn soul. Right? But he's a World Cup winner. He can say, you could go in his house and he'd probably have the World Cup medal hanging there. So these things happen all the time, but it's just you have to pick sense from nonsense. When somebody says Kun Aguero win a World Cup, won by 2022, but he wasn't in our squad. Well, yeah, but he get. I was calling with a man just the other day, talking about Gary Payton, how Gary Payton. He was calling names of players, former basketball players who ended their career without a ring. And he called Gary Payton. He won. He ended up winning with Miami. he can remember that because Gary Payton, I mean...
He was at the end of the tail end of his career.
Of his career. He didn't play a big role in, that championship, but he can say, hey, I did not end without that ring, bro.
All right, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? So,
like Fay-Ann. At the tail end of a career. There's a joke. Just let you know. Right? There's a joke. No, so us, we'll see how it go. Now, what somebody else saying in a conversation I was having is that they playing for outside bookings now, boy. And, two of them they could charge more because, right? And I was telling them, I do think long time before the internet and thing, you just had to take your word away here or there, but no.
I mean, you intro in soca part without knowing soca music.
Yeah.
You understand? You're not going to just put that on and you would tell me the two of them sing this song and I could never hear this song before and book them to play in some big dance. I don't think that happening.
No. I'm hoping Bunji don't try to strong arm people and say, well, it's 20,000 for me and 20,000 for Faye. Because two of we would match winners. That would be wild.
Well, listen, they as the band will have to work out how they charge. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sure they have a price for just him alone to perform. Before all of this.
That actually is what one of the biggest bacchanals was for the past couple of years, where people, and it actually was a bacchanal this year too, because where people was saying, well, now we just want Galen alone, hoping to get a lesser price now, and Galen's like, nah, it's everybody, it's everything happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that goes to show, if you're wondering why that happened, why the credit was shared.
Yeah.
Because that's how this operate. Is a all away or none away situation, and me not a problem with that. I don't have a problem with him doing that.
I would have feel much better if they had put Bunji, Fay-Ann, and Vikings.
Or the Bunji and the Asylum Band or something.
Well, you might call them Asylum again.
Right.
They call them the Vikings. I would have feel real good, boy.
Right.
I feel real good about that. Yes, boy. The whole team, boy. Like how Ultimate Rejects.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. How they roll as a squad.
Yeah, and well, I mean, in the result, they put Ultimate Rejects featuring MX Prime. Right? But you know how they put that? I was like, yes, boy. Yes, boy. Everybody going forward, boy. Everybody together, boy.
Well, in terms of his response, though, we mentioned that earlier, and I said, I don't feel like that was. I agree with Corey. I listened to his podcast today myself, and I agree. In fact, I agree with him almost wholeheartedly on his take on this particular issue. I say almost because after kind of pointing out certain weirdness in his statement, he still somehow come to the conclusion at the end that it was an appropriate statement by Bunji. And I was like, but I know what you're saying just a second ago. But whatever, right? But in general, I don't agree. I don't believe those were his sentiments being expressed. But I also think that he's letting a lot of things get kind of mixed up together and responding to everybody in a way he should be responding to one particular group of people.
Right, yeah. So I think, yes, I agree with you. So there are certain people, with a lot of hatred for Fay-Ann.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are also a lot of people, well, I mean, they're probably in the same group with hatred for Fay-Ann. I think that two of them shouldn't be together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then there are people who have an issue with her name being on this song for the road match.
Right.
And there could be 2 or 3 different sets of people.
Right.
And he kind of broad brush and try to handle everybody.
Everybody, as if everybody had the same beef.
Yeah.
Right? I think, and to be fair to him, I don't know what he was seeing. I don't know what hearing, I don't know what comments he might be responding to, because, you and I might think we were just confused when you saw the name. That was all. I don't care who get the credits. I don't care if they split up the money. How them run their personal business is not my business. I was just confused when I saw the name, right? And I didn't read down,
right?
So, but you read down and noticed the Nyla and Patrice's name.
Yeah.
Well, Skinny Fabulous name was missing from the second one.
And Patrice's name
missing from the third one, right? So you noticed that. I didn't notice because I was just confused about the first line, right? But if I'd read down, I would have been also confused when I saw that. So there are people like you and me, you're just confused. Like, you do that? Like, how does it work, right? And then there were people who have always felt how they feel about her, and they just graft on their own prejudices about how she is,
Right.
and how they feel she does behave, and how she pushy, and they just see this as evidence of that, and they went off.
Right.
And he might have seen that and is responding to those people, or responding to everybody as if everybody like that.
Right.
You understand? When the vast majority of people was like, how she reach here? I don't understand. What's going on here? Right? And if you just say, well, no, she co-write the song. Okay.
All right. Cool. Done. Yeah.
End of story. She background vocals. You didn't hear and she voice, but she voice say, all right, brother, and you move on. But then there are people who have the personal beef with her, you know, and to go and bring the gender thing and
boy, and black thing.
Yeah,
You raise he play all cards except the LBGT card. Though. That man play every card except the LBGT card.
Now, what I would say though about the gender issue is that if they want to point out that there might be some double standards, I do think there is something about, I do feel female artists, we talk about soca, so we're going to keep it to soca right now. I think female soca artists do have to deal with some sort of weird double standard when it comes to how they're perceived by the public, right?
But all right, go ahead, and I'll tell you why I think is
right. I've always, now, before I would have thought, like, before I just used to think about how people hated Fay-Ann, right? And I used to be like, you know, and I just, because most of the times, the people who hated Fay-Ann will belong to two groups. They were Bunji fans and they were women, right? So I just put the two together, or, you know, Galen was an artist that the girls had favor, probably still favor, I don't know, but, you know, and especially when he first came out. So, you know, the fans of his, I know women is some, not all women, but some women behave like when the celebrity crush start to date a woman, they start to get like the woman thief their man. You know what I mean? So they start to get judgmental. And so I've always felt like that is what she was dealing with. But then I started to realize, but no, I find Nyla does good. I find real people hate Nyla. I find a certain group of people don't like Destra at all. And
a certain group? That group huge.
Right.
Yeah.
A large number of people don't like these women, right? And it's not to do with the music. And I started to say to myself, I've never really seen a male artist deal with that. I've never seen second star haters or Earth and Alps haters or pretty hate. I know people who might just not rate them, feel they ain't so good or this or that, the other. But they don't have haters. And like, I don't know, you've ever heard of Bunji haters? Like, people who just,
I wouldn't
no matter what Bunji do, they don't.
I just remember when Bunji and Marshall was kind of button heads.
Right.
People would choose a side.
Yeah. But they're not haters of Bunji, you know, like what he could do no right in their eyes. Everything he do, they had to criticize. I don't see that for any male artist, but I see plenty female artists. The only two artists I could think of off the top of my head that don't deal with that I've never heard of, and I've never found, haven't discovered their haters yet, is Patrice Roberts and Nadia Batson.
Nah, but I hear real people about talk Patrice, but real people. Like, and it's strange. But I mean, most of the time that there's always talk about how physical.
And it's women, eh?
Yeah.
What? And if we talk about the gender dynamics, all of these people I talk about, it's not men that hate them, eh? It's women. Why is that? What? It's almost as if for some people, women have to be. It's as if they only want their women. They want women to conform to these norms or these standards that they don't make men conform to in the same way.
No, I hear you, but and I agree with you to some extent, but I think it's because the nature of soca music and it could be how instructional it is. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, right, with tempo, and I was telling people this, I think one of the difficult times people would have had relating to tempo music or tempo performance is when you realize that she
is a woman singing
is a
about
woman,
jamming woman.
yeah, and so it's like kind of confusing in a way, right? And I wonder if it's the same thing happens with women now, but you understand what I'm saying? You know, if they do they need to construct their songs? Well, as I say, it's not only songs, but and then women just don't like women. And at the end of the day, soca is something, let me be real, dog. Soca music is led by women. If you understand what I'm saying, the vibes, the direction in which it go.
I mean, as consumers.
Right. Is really led by women.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and that's a real weird thing, and you know, it could be difficult to have that discussion with women because, you know, accountability is not something. And we were talking about this before we came on here. Accountability is hard to encounter. People who are willing to take accountability is hard to encounter anyway. But especially when it's about women and women's issues, somehow it will turn into, you know, somehow this double standard was created by men.
Yeah,
but like I say, I mean, and I could ask you, I don't know of any men who's just like, nah, I fireburn Fay-Ann, but I can't think of many.
No, I can't think of much either. And because I've said it on this podcast, and I say it again, I think she is one of the best, if not the best, female soca artist there is.
No, and you giving her props. What I'm saying is...
No, and what I'm saying is, but this season, I would have preferred her not sing with the band.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or sing less, right?
Okay, but what I'm saying is, okay, the men who might say negative things about Fay-Ann, they would be talking about her music. They would say she music ain't good this year, she ain't come out so bad.
But you think women could battle Fay-Ann looks, boy?
No, but not how they don't like her. It's the same thing with Nyla. They don't.
All right, so possibly if people that like Bunji, they probably think that Fay-Ann is ill-treating Bunji.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So that's why I thought it was just a her thing. But then I started to observe and I found that a lot of female artists, there are a lot of people who hate them, who dislike them for whatever reason, right? And when I say they dislike them, they don't just, again, I don't want to get confused with people who just don't rate their music, right? Like, I don't really know I'm a big, you know, Nadia Batson fan or whatever, you know what I mean? That's one thing, but the type of people like, nah, you know, Nadia, everything she do, they kind of judging she harsh. You don't find Nyla have a lot of haters?
Honestly, for me, I've never heard much people bad talk Nyla for just bad talking Nyla. Say, plenty people do like Nyla voice. And I will always say, when people tell me that, man or woman, I prefer Nyla voice on songs other than soca. I find it real suiting for, you understand? But most of the people I ever hear bad talk Nyla is for her voice. They like how she songs.
All right. That's not what I do. I've heard people complain about her voice too, but I've never heard anybody complain about. I've heard people say they don't like Angela Hunt's voice in a similar way, but not talk about her in the same way they talk about Nyla.
Okay.
It's as if Nyla can't do nothing right in their eyes.
Right.
And every song she sings is shit in their minds, right? And 90% of the time is women. Right? And so what I'm saying is, if there is I am starting to realize, you know me, I always get real skeptical when people start to pull them cards, gender and race and whatever. But I do actually have to sympathize with women because I do feel like soca artists face, because, I mean, dog, think of how many male artists we've had in this industry, and I can't think of one who people just hate just so. You know what I mean? Nothing they do could be right.
Probably Trinidad Killer.
And to the point, you know, people, if you ask people say all kinds of things about Destra attitude and Fay-Ann attitude, and I've heard people say negative things about Nyla attitude, right? I don't know, some of these people, there's a perception of their attitude because they never even have any personal interaction with them, right? Over the years, bro, how many times have we heard about Marshall's attitude? He peed on the truck.
Yeah.
Slapping people. All these things that have...
He didn't slap Umi. I didn't slap Umi. Umi say that, right? You see that video?
Yes.
Yeah. Umi. I didn't slap Umi. Other people burn on Umi. Just saying.
Yeah, right? But he don't have them haters.
True.
And I mean, well, he does have haters. Let's be honest. But that's more because of his stature. He has so many fans that he will. But for every Marshall hater, there are 50 sycophants. But when it comes to these female artists, it's almost like a one-on-one. It's like one person like them, they really hate them. One person like them, they really hate them. You know what I mean? So is it that we accept things from male artists like we accept? I ain't gonna say the artist name,
And good. And those are artists I feel people don't hate though. Alice Nines way.
True. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, people like welcome Alice Nines.
That is true. I've never heard anybody say anything unpleasant about her. And also Nadia Batson. I've never heard anybody. Now, my wife doesn't like her music, right? But I've never heard anybody say anything. But that's what I'm saying. It's almost as if they could only accept female artists in a particular, like anytime they stray outside of that mold, anytime they start to look as if they're too assertive, like, nah, I like she attitude.
Right.
It's like, because as I pointed out, I was going to tell you just now, I had to deal with artists once to book them for an event. He's a road match winner. He was not a road match winner at that time, right? And bro, I was real surprised. I was really taken aback by that man. Just general disposition, his attitude, everything.
Serious?
Yeah, boy, dog. Boy, the man was real. I wasn't expecting that, but the man was real arrogant. He would say he was just aware of his worth or his value, but he, I always say, if you had to convince me of your value, then maybe I would that much, you know what I mean? But he was real. Yes, to me, he was a real difficult person to deal with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as far as that person has zero haters. Zero. You know what I mean? People might not like his music, might see this, might see that. But I say like but it will all be in reference to his music. Either he was hitting, he ain't hitting, he not hitting no more, or whatever. But I've never heard anybody, because he would have dealt with numerous people.
I've dealt with a lot of artists, and to be fair, my interactions with Fay-Ann has never really been bad. To be very honest, what I admit is she's very direct, right? And that could turn off a lot of people. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand. So you know that.
But I think, but that's the point. What they would say, and this is one of the things, the point I'm trying to make is that they would actually be right this time. They would probably say, yeah, but when male artists behave the same way, it's just like, all right, this is okay.
But you see, the thing about it is, because people just keep talking about the patriarchy, but we ain't saying, because it's not saying that when women come and assert themselves, men dislike them. It's women dislike them.
It seems like it's women who don't like, who just focus on the attitude more than anything else.
Anything else. So then, is it the patriarchy?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying who's at fault, but I'm just saying there really is a dynamic.
But you see what I'm saying now. It's the patriarchy. And I'm sure if you talk to some female artists, they'll tell you that it's the men in the industry keeping them down.
Because it's a male-dominated industry, right? Now, to be fair, maybe they do get attitudes from male promoters. Maybe when they're more assertive, some promoters might, I mean, like to deal with she, or I had to call she manager because she's, whereas with a male artist, they mightn't feel or how if the man is aggressive or forward.
I mean, I don't want to stay on this topic too long, but I understand it's really a difficult thing for them, because obviously you have female artists who trying to get their music played, trying to get bookings and whatnot, and then obviously out of time and men who will try to be out of time and
because they will do that with anybody. So in terms of trying to get something for the favor of playing the music, it's just that in your instance there'll be something very clear. There'll be an obvious thing they will ask for.
Right. So I understand that it could really be very difficult for them, but I would say if the women support the women, as they should. I think you'll be okay. Then everybody will have no choice, because if women stood up and say, no, we want Patrice, we want this one, we want that one in the feds, right? It is what it is.
Yeah.
No, to be fair too, thinking about it, when we took Patrice to Grenada, Grenadians love Patrice.
Yeah, you're talking about that.
They were willing to give Patrice house and land. You understand what I'm saying? And women I talking about now. So is it a Trinidad thing? You understand what I'm saying? Is that thing with Trinidad women?
Well, I mean, you saying Patrice, but I've never heard it, right? I've never heard that. The two artists I had put in the category prior to the conversation was her and Nadia. But you point out Alison, so I'll add to that. And you saying you just hear real people like expressing dislike for Patrice Roberts. I don't hear it. I don't hear it. I always thought she was a darling of the industry, because I rate her music and I never heard her.
Patrice was a darling in the industry before she was purchased alone.
Right.
And she come out, you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Again, is when she assert herself.
Assert herself, yeah. When she was kind of sideline to
Right.
Marshall or in the back of Marshall.
Right.
And that's when she was a doll in the industry.
Right.
But once she came out hard,
Right.
yeah, people started to fight her.
So that's a.
So
we had that's something that had to be addressed.
So, but it could, we had to look and see, is it a Trinidadian thing? Is it that thing with Trinidadian women hating Trinidadian artists?
Trinidadian female artists.
Yeah, Trinidadian female artists. Because, I mean, well, they clearly accepting Alison. And she's an outsider. Right?
I don't hear nobody hates on Rihanna.
Right.
I hear people hating on Nicki Minaj, but only because of she vaccine thing.
No, but still.
And she's Trinidadian.
Nah. But people hating on Nicki Minaj a long time.
And she's Trinidadian.
Even before the vaccine thing.
And it's Trinidadian.
Yeah, boy.
So maybe it's a Trinidad thing.
Yeah. The woman shot a video here with some girls. You didn't see the background of that?
Yeah.
And people going mad over the girls who she chooses to shoot the video.
Yeah.
And I like, wow.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was mainly women.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
It was mainly women. And it had one or two pick me men who, you know, and they do videos saying, well, they could have used this girl and this girl because they wanted to kind of pick up them girl.
Yeah,
for them girl to see a video and realize, hey, this man read, man.
Yeah.
Calm down, pick me's.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, boy, dog, but Trinidad, you know, man, y'all are haters.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Y'all are
so
haters.
right here, we come to the bottom of the problem is that Trinity thing. Is that Trinidad, I know, man. It's not Trinidad, I know, man.
Yeah, boy.
So, women, that's what I told. And don't get we involved, man. I can't help all that. I don't hate nothing.
You understand?
I not on all that. I don't, them things don't bother me. So, I don't ask me for a solution. All they work out that amongst all themselves. What it is causing now.
But I want to really, before we jump off of this topic, I really want to ask Galen, boy, or talk to Galen about, and I've seen it on a couple of occasions, and this is me here, I'm not talking about what people say and what people think and whatever. I would see Galen, and Galen go heal. Hey, you see, yeah, cool, yeah. And when he's here alone, when it's he and Fay-Ann, he just says, and not. Why is that?
Well, man, that's your man personal.
But I want to ask him that. I want to ask him that. Like, I mean, and it might be anything big, you know, dog. It's just like, I focus, dog. When I was my wife, I focus on.
I don't know the man personally. I know you and your cousin and them used to be around them a little more often. Well, not more often, but used to be around them a little bit. So I don't know them personally. So I can't even offer any kind of opinion on that matter.
But I think some people, let's hear these stories. And kind of...
And concoct.
Yeah, whether it's concoct about Fay-Ann.
Well, I don't even mind that, you know, but it just... Calm down. Just keep... You know, I mean, you don't... Like Corey was saying, you don't go on the man post, especially if it's a post where he's celebrating the road march and start to get wild. Oh, God, start to... Picture... Feel like if you... Think of it as if you was talking to him to his face. Would you tell him that? If he came, if he walk up in front of a crowd and say he wanted to celebrate his road march victory, would you start to talk you out of time and talk? Well, then don't do it on the internet.
Well, you know it is always keyboard warriors.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel how you want to feel about she, feel how you want to feel about them. You talk about it among your friends. But don't disrespect the man and by going to him with your complaints about his wife. What is it?
The man wife who didn't leave him when somebody suggested you should leave him. I'm telling you, boy.
How you just drop up the temerity to feel you had the right to do that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If some random person's got to tell me about my relationship with my wife and what I find what she does do and what I should know, she do. Hey, you're not a part of my personal life. How we reach so close.
That's not like real, dog. Trinidadians like to tell you what to do with your personal life, dog. That's Trini thing, dog. You understand? Trinis really like to tell you what to do in your life, dog. That's a Trini thing. That's a Trini thing. Let me be real, dog. That's a Trini thing.
Well, boy, it need to stop. Because if I could understand the man be like, wait, where it come out from? No, I am always one of the people that say, listen, you post something on social media, you have to be willing to deal with all of the consequences. You understand? Because the point is, when you post something on social media, you are telling the world something. You are communicating with the world. Not even just your followers. Especially if you're a celebrity. You're communicating something to the world. You can't expect that all the people that are going to communicate back to you are going to say things you want to hear. Right? You know what I'm saying? If you want to keep your business completely private, then don't put it on social media. Don't invite commentary, right? So if you post a picture or you post something on Twitter and you don't want to hear, then mute comments or whatever, right? So I'm one of those people that honestly believe in that. You have to take, if you want to play the social media game, you have to take the good with the bad, right? But I also could understand why you could be like taken aback by people interjecting their opinions about your personal life, bro. You know what I mean? And what
something you didn't even post about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
What you should or shouldn't do on your song with your wife. You know what I mean? Like but anyway.
Few other, but also you saw the video with the men that's whining on the girl, whining on the
who it looked like it was staged to me, and like some people keep telling them that's a man over and over.
Yeah, well, you see, Kai support that thing talking about posting them things now, boy, right?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Kai support that thing saying that them thing could be kind of dangerous or whatever the case may be.
Tell people what Kaiso is because they might be aware and they might think you're talking about somebody nicknamed Kaiso.
Oh no, Kaiso is the gay people in Trinidad.
I just remember what the acronym stands for.
I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but is the people who represent the LGBT community in Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, I don't know if they could be said to represent anybody other than themselves, but they represent the interests.
Right, that's what they say. I don't know why they want to name it Kaiso so close to the thing called Kaiso, but hey, whatever.
As I say, it has the initials have a meaning.
But the big man thing, we used to be out on the road long time. You go out in the road, dog, start the jammer thing, and then you think. You realize
I
man.
feel I've seen that happen, especially on Juve morning. Fell up.
And but the person taking the jam?
Yeah. Downtown Juve are plenty of that. Plenty people just like the one you saw in the video. And can remember wearing wig and short pants and a normal thing, So they would come out to Dingole in their vibes, And
so,
they come to take the jam,
Wow, boy, dog, boy.
I seen that since I small, Every Juve had to look out for it, or you know what I mean?
I thank God I was never really a thirsty man. And I said, man, I like to play that kind of ranking thing most of the time, get out to come around me now, boy. And I real marking it before I went on here now, boy. You understand what I'm saying? I real marking it.
Yeah.
Proper. So me and just seeing my man running in, dog. Because I telling you, I think I would be pretty upset if I happen to be one of them kind of fellas. Or probably I don't know how them fellas just think, right? But you're running and you start to jam and you think that a throwback and get a proper cock back and wine, and then you realize it's a guy,
I saw that happen with well, it was not friend, but he was part of the team that went out the Juve morning. We laughed at him for a good few days. That was that.
And how you accept that way? You're cool with that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when he realized it was not a woman, if he started to act up at the time, them used to move with jokers and thing, and bad boys. So you can't play mad and like, oh, you're a man, you come on here and start want to play. No, you'll get properly well stabbed up. So at least back then I talking about, right? Especially when Downtown Juve was in full swing. You couldn't play mad and go wrong them because them used to move with bad boys and stab and ice pick and thing that way. So so you had to cut your losses and ride out. But he just we laugh at him.
God, boy, I was never no dusty man because I would have lose it, boy, G boy.
Nah, listen. What do you mean? Like, all right, let me say you see the person thought it was a bird. You go and you start to whine, they start to fling back. You realize it's a man and you pull away.
I'll get red mark for it. When I realize that, man, boy, my self-esteem and confidence and everything, it didn't set up in a way to see that and be like,
I go feel embarrassed, but I mean, I go feel more shame to myself, but I'm not gonna get mad with them, you know what I mean? I go kind of be like, oh God, you so thirsty, you couldn't, I would feel embarrassed, but I'm not gonna get mad with them. I mean, I can understand getting mad with them if it reached like a stage where like is somebody who's, you know,
transformed.
Yes, who was close to transforming. Like okay, back then you would have just referred to them as transvestites. No, I don't know. I don't even know if you could assume they're transgender because they could simply be transvestite. They don't identify as any other gender. So you can't even use that term to refer to somebody unless they let you know that they are in fact that, right? But let's say it's somebody who's transgender, identifying as a woman, portraying themselves as a woman, and it goes further than, you know, you take a wine and then you realize, oh, you look and you pull back. It goes further than that, then I could probably get vexed with the person.
And they pull up a beacon thing. You're wild, drum in your head. And you pull up a beak.
Then I would get mad with the person, right? But if it's not that, it's my fault. You was doing what you was doing, and I play fast.
Yeah, but you know, don't wind back, dog. If you feel a man behind you, don't wind back, don't wind back.
Nah, that's what it come to do,
right?
That's what it come to do.
Yeah, but you have to come to do it with your people. You have to let them know. Hey,
listen. The point is for you to discern, and you want to play Tusty Man, right? It's for you to discern what it is you're doing. Who you interfering with? You have to pay attention to what you're doing.
So my Tusty brethrens out here, dog. Well, careful, eh?
That has happened all the time. I'm real surprised. Like people make a big deal of that. This kind of event. That has happened all the time.
I don't have much of that. I don't have none of that experience. I never really see that happen. I mean, I probably see it on social media. I see it on social media like that in some foreign carnival. It happen now. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you know them transforming now, boy. You know, Autobots. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So them transforming and rolling out now, boy, dog, boy. They're on the road. But
I remember I see that up to maybe 20. The last time I played with iJuve. Not iJuve. I love Juve. Yeah, wherever it was. On the foreshore. They wasn't part of the band.
Right.
They were just stragglers. And he started bend over there, boy, on hand on the pavement and flinging it back. Now, I see any person for the past 15, 20 minutes. So I see who the person is now, boy. And to be fair, the person wasn't even looking like they was trying that hard to look like a woman.
Right.
You could tell from his movements, you know, he probably a little zesty. He was very zesty, right? And he had on a wig. But he wasn't really. It's not like the rest of the attire was, you know? But he bent over. And when I see that, I said, somebody go and get catch, you know? Because all the time I seen him in his full. So I could see who it is.
Yeah.
But you see when he turn around and bend over, I feel like, yeah, boy, somebody go and get take. And I saw this, you know him too, you know?
Serious.
Yeah, you know him too.
Okay.
Yeah, he get take. And I don't think he realized he get take.
Oh, well, I mean...
he went and he jammed but he didn't jam for long.
Right, and he pressed.
Yeah. And he pressed. So yeah, I see that up to the other day, dog. So I don't understand why people's making a big deal of that. I fell up to that. Fell up to that.
But, and for the fellas who was warning people, you know, if this was a true video, big respect to all you save, you know, or they could have probably saved that person's life. Big respect to all you.
I find that whole thing looked like it
was staged.
It was staged, you know, like.
Now, I think what happened is them fellas realized what's going on and start to record to catch people in action now, boy.
Right.
And they just record it, and as a man come, they let him jam a little bit, hey boy, and they just waiting now, boy, because they realize people were get catch.
Yeah.
So they set now, boy. So that come like how you would have realized somebody going to get and you would have take out your phone and say, somebody going to get I'll get this on tape. Yeah. I think that's what it was. Yeah, boy. So I just one more thing I want to touch on, which is kind of interesting, and then we could look at this human trafficking thing. But it's how a guy by the name of Marcos or something like that on social media. So I don't know if you ever saw his videos where he would walk around and ask people for money he would have, but he will give away money to people who are willing to help him.
Yeah. And he do it in Trinity Mall sometime or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And he gave away a car.
A little shabby. And,
He gave away a car recently.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that one?
No.
I think that is wild, bro.
Mr. Beast at work. Mr. Beast out here inspiring people.
Whole kind of way, though.
Well, listen, for him to give away a car, he either has to have garnered enough sponsorship or enough wealth off of YouTube
But
or social media.
I seen these things on Instagram. He's making real money on Instagram, then.
Or he's garnered enough viewers, followers that sponsors think it's worth their while.
I didn't even see any man
promote.
posting no sponsors, by the way, but it's interesting. No, it was not a new car, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was a PDZ Aqua. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting. I mean, kudos to you. Big up yourself.
So Mr. Beast working out here.
Right? I mean, I had that thought of giving away a car. I wasn't going to give it away that easy. Right? For our YouTube channel and thing, but hey, big up yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to give that shout and I respect. Hey, big up yourself. You're doing your thing and, you know.
Listen, I was just today, Bertrand sent me a video with a man, I don't know if you see it, a man mashing up a Urus, a Lamborghini Urus.
No way.
Some Russian social media content producer, influencer, whatever. A brand new Lamborghini Urus, park it up and use a crane to drop a big wrecking ball on it or whatever, right? And he pissing mad. Like, fuck, you could do that. And I said, well, listen, the thing is, when you share it, it only begets that nonsense, right? So when he gets the views he's looking for, because of it's for views.
Right, yeah.
When he gets the views he's looking for, somebody else is going to be like, okay, cool. Well, now I'm going to destroy Ferrari. Or, you know what I'm saying? So in the case of Mr. Beast, inspiring other YouTubers and content creators to do things like what he's doing. Now we all know they're doing it for views. Or as they're content producers. Right? But I have no problem with people doing that for clout. You know, giving away cars and in the case of Mr. Beast, curing blindness and all kind of thing. Do that. Don't just destroy, $1 million cars.
Well, the thing is, I think there's give back the money. I think because once people start to share it and the views go up and
No. Well, I'm not sure he will get the money. I'm not disputing he will get the money, but you have just wasted something. You could have, when you think of the fact that you could have given that money to somebody who's needy.
No, but I think because them people are not creative. They're not really creative enough to come up with good ideas like Mr. Beast and them to do things. So they do outlandish shit.
And it also speaks to the kind of person that they are. Because, I mean, you could even explain that away. You could say, well, listen, I destroyed this Lamborghini. And yes, you might think, oh, I could have given that money to somebody who was needy. Lamborghini needy. I could have given that money to somebody who was needy. But guess what? I'm going to garner $250,000 off of this video. And then I'm going to take 100,000 of it and open a foundation. Right? So I made more money to know I could help more people. But in reality, that's not what they're doing. They're just desperate for clout. So they're just doing anything. But I'm just glad that, so I don't mind, everybody's have a problem with copycats, but I don't mind people copycatting Mr. Beast.
And it's helping people.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a big up Marcus, I think is the guy name. Big up yourself. I mean, you do your thing, Regin. I mean, if you're helping people who don't have, big respect.
Yep.
Yeah. Talking about people who don't have, not the people who have been accused of the people who are being accused of being trafficked, not the people who doing the trafficking or being accused of doing the trafficking. But you saw this thing with
Devant, Maharaj?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that a little bit. I saw him on the news last night.
Right. I'm real confused with that. I mean, I don't know if you can shed some more light because he is saying that 7 years ago. Well, no, not 7 years ago. How much of a years ago, right? The reason I say 7 because PNM in power 7 years now. Right? When they did whatever investigations, he say
that members of the UNC was involved.
Why you telling us this 7 years after? Or 8 years or 9 years or how much of a years after?
Bro, I don't know. Well, according to Kirk Mago, it's because he have an axe to grind. He's a disaffected member of the party and he's trying to bring down the party.
So you have no integrity then?
Well, if this is what tipped the scale for you to know that Devant Maharaj is not really, he's not a magnanimous individual, then I don't know what to tell you.
Right? So, and I know in the States, I don't know if it's happening here. I know it's certain things in the States, if you know of certain crimes and didn't report it.
Well, listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what it is, what he said to spark this entire thing, right? From what I understood from the little piece I saw in the news last night, it sounded as if he was just commenting on the fact that they were members of the party that were being investigated at the time. But they were being investigated. So it wasn't like if he was aware of their crimes, he knew how they committed their crimes and kept it a secret. It sounds like he was just sounding the alarm on the fact that there was an investigation being conducted and those persons were named in the investigation.
So the thing I have here from news source, which is definitely not the best source to get us from, right? Where the headline is True, UNC Human Traffickers, Dr. Devant Maharaj. I wish to confirm the statement of the Honorable Prime Minister and the 2022 U.S. Human Trafficking Report, which links particular members of the UNC with human trafficking. I wish to confirm that during 2010 to 2015, internal investigations headed by senior UNC officials investigated the allegations of human trafficking. I can confirm that I attest that and I confirm that I assisted in these investigations. I can also confirm that the allegations were confirmed to be true and correct. So, the man saying it's not allegations, it's true and correct.
No, but what I'm saying is that's not him withholding information about a crime. He is saying that, all right, the Prime Minister came out and made a statement, right? And he is, because that's what sparked this whole thing, right? And he is saying, yeah, it's true. What he is saying is true, and the basis for what he's saying from making the statement that there are human traffickers involved in the party is that I could confirm that all these things happened back then.
Right, and then he says, I confirm this as particular individuals who now hold high office in the party on a regular basis provided and regular supply Venezuelans and Colombian prostitutes to persons within and without the party. That's right. Yeah. I myself was approached on several occasions to utilize the service, all which I refused.
Right. Now, what you can accuse him of is still having a role to play in that party after that has happened. Right? But again...
But why didn't go to the police when these people come and offer him now?
Well, what he's saying is that there were investigations and the allegations were investigated. So I have to assume that there was some sort of a criminal investigation also launched at some point in time. So it's not for him to do the investigating himself. He's saying that there was an investigation. I assisted as far as I could.
Well, the thing is, I didn't see any about a criminal investigation. We saw they say
right.
The UNC senior UNC officials did the investigations, right? So, but if at some point you realize, okay, the boss is doing the investigation, nothing happening, but all they're offering me things here that I think is illegal and I think shouldn't be happening, why didn't pick up yourself and go to the police?
I agree. No, it's not to say that didn't happen, and he may not be saying that now. But what I'm saying is, we were asking before if he could be, if he might be snitching on himself, implicating himself as an accessory by failing to report to the authorities. But what I'm saying is, what he said there doesn't necessarily mean that that's what happened. But what you know for sure is that he had no problem being a part of a party
where this was going on.
Right? And that alone speaks volumes about him. Right? You understand? And again, if you needed that to tell you that brother a little bit sketchy, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But yes, you're 100% right. Obviously, it sounds... Now, again, he is saying that he is confirming that the Prime Minister not just making out-of-timing statements, right? So you're asking why say it now? Well, that's why. He is saying, okay, listen, everybody coming on the Prime Minister for what he said, I could confirm that there's truth to that, right? That's why he said it now. Now, you would think or hope that he would have thought it through and said to himself, okay, so what am I going to be willing to say? How am I going to cover myself when people ask me obvious questions? So maybe he has a plan for that when that time reach. But yes, what I saw in the news last night was just I was kind of back and forth. Well, not back and forth because they weren't speaking directly to each other, but the media had interviewed Kirk Negu and then they interviewed him. And Kirk Negu make his thing, oh, he's a disaffected, blah, 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 axe to grind. He come back, oh, Kirk Negu begging for a place in the party. He was seat bad. That's why he don't know because he wasn't there and he's an outcome and all kind of jackass. You know what I mean? Just a waste of my time and nothing of substance came of it. So who knows? Maybe somebody might, properly, question him if they get him in an interview. You would think that as the first thing, journalists would ask.
Yeah.
And maybe they did. And they just didn't show it in the news. But I would think they should put it.
I think that's an important part of the news.
Yeah. So how did you, when you found this out, how are you still willing to be like in the party? Like, I don't understand that. Like, why did you immediately, hey, woo. Now, if you're afraid to blow the whistle or whatever, okay, fine. But you should have immediately removed yourself. Hey, I don't know part of this. Place.
Right. And you remove yourself. And then probably today when this come up, because well, the reason I had leave the party was because this was going on. And I, in fear of my life, I didn't want to bring up that. But now I'm bringing it up and I'm asking for protection. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm asking the Prime Minister to give me protection. But hey, strange. I told you all, this next election is going to be very entertaining. The amount of shit they're going to hear.
I don't feel so now, boy.
Serious.
I don't feel the next election could be interesting at all.
No, I think so. I'm not saying interesting, I say entertaining. I think.
Or entertaining.
Yeah. I hear Watson, do you want to go for Mayor of Port of Spain?
Okay, that might be entertaining.
Right?
That might be entertaining.
Listen, the amount of games and run-arounds these fellas are going to play.
He will be entertaining.
Right?
He will be entertaining. I agree with that.
Right? With Philip had to play some games too.
I think he's still too young.
Right? Farley is we're going to hear more about Farley when it comes closer to the general election. Because I'm pretty sure Farley and them will pull together the team to cover Tobago for general election, which is going to be interesting. And he's going to throw some jabs at Watson and them, right? Watson will throw some jabs at him. I agree. Once anything surrounding Watson Duke is entertainment, right? I get that, but I feel like the meat of the matter would be much of the same. I think we're dealing with two dead parties, in particular dead opposition that has nothing to offer new. They're just wasting time. Right? And you have a PNM, a ruling party that kind of ruling by default right now. Like, nobody can find anything else better to replace. At least you feel that's the case. So they're just like, and it might come along, you might find more disaffected PNM people kind of grumble a little bit coming down to and you might feel, hey boy, I feel some marginals could go a different direction. But in the end, unless things change drastically, bro, I don't see the PNM being perturbed in the next election because the opposition just has nothing to offer. And they have no intention, they're not doing anything to change that perception. Probably they might do a surprise. They might do a surprise in the late run.
Is that surprise going to mean replacing Kamala Persad
Probably.
leader? I don't know.
I think probably not a lot of UNC people calling for it. But
well, who knows? But I from how things look right now,
if Watson go and lead our party, dog,
the UNC, no, that could never happen. Never ever happen. Never ever.
What about Jack? Because I see she and Jack knocking glass there. And
I think he lost his political juice.
Right? And Jack Mozilla, hey, if you make man, if you give my position here, I could stay here. You understand?
By the time you would think that by the time the election rolled around, that hearing would have been conducted, and all appeals, if appeals had to go through. So, and I think he has lost a lot of his political juice. I think he's lost what made him Jack. He was the get through man. He was the man who
had the access to the wallet. He had the access to the money.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody really taking him seriously from any other perspective. So, listen, obviously things has changed, or things could change on a dime. Some craziness could happen in the UNC, and they decide, they could, Michaela and them could make some kind of run for the leadership of that party, try to unseat Kamala. I don't know. But the point is, unless something like that take place, expect the next election to basically be a cakewalk for the
PNM.
Because we don't have a viable opposition. We do not have an opposition that is presenting anything to give people a reason to vote. Now, for me, I not voting. You know what I'm saying? None of them could get my vote. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, just looking at the general public, you feel so? You feel that anybody giving them a reason to pause and think, hey boy, maybe I should.
I mean, I think it have a lot of people kind of upset with the PNM, and a lot of PNM people upset with the PNM too, right? People. So, however, I think they might stay away from the polls. And I think that benefits the UNC because, not to sound racist, I can't be racist because I mix, but them Indian people come now no matter what now. Right? You understand what I'm saying? No matter how they feel about who running that party.
Right, but that is in places they're already going to win.
Right. No, this is what I say. So the marginals now, because I find what you would find is a lot of the disaffected PNM people, some of them in the marginals, and some of them more the brighter people. And if they stay away, they just stay away, and the UNC people in those areas come out. I think that could slant it in their direction. And remember, right now we're done closer now, so you just really need 2-3 seats for it to shift. So I think if PNM continue pissing off people, I think UNC could win by default. If you understand what I'm saying.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the opposite. I think the PNM will win by default because there is no viable alternative. But you're saying, the UNC will win by default because the PNM has just been is just not fit for purpose in the eyes of most of the normal supporters.
And I think that's what it is. So I don't think more people will vote for UNC, but I think less people will vote for PNM. And that's where the problem would be. So PNM will win the normal seats, UNC will win the normal seats, and it will come down to the marginals. And this time is where the marginals will really be important. And if them people say, Dabadi Omera and them, those not me going to this door.
Oh, here?
Yeah, lock it at all, Paro. Yeah, we didn't beat him up on a dog.
Well, I mean, that might provide some entertainment. It wouldn't make a difference to me either way, but that might provide. If it start to look like a nail biter coming down in the dregs, it might get a little entertaining. That's what we could hope for.
And I think that's what. Yeah. Other than that, before we close off, big respect to Dr. Keith Rowley. I think one of the strongest men alive. Right? Bob Merchant. This man get COVID about 72 times.
No, listen.
Right? And balling out here like normal. This is the man who say, if you go in the bar and then get COVID, everybody go dead. Everybody in the bar go dead. The man said that everybody go end up in the mortuary or whatever, right?
Yeah, cemetery.
On the cemetery. Something he said. But I remember it was he skipped the hospital, right? He said if you go in the bar, I remember he skipped the hospital, he skipped all them things. I remember he was going from bar to dead. And this man has gotten COVID 72 times. All right, they say 4 times. 4 times.
To be fair to him, I think that he may well be getting COVID as much as a lot of people, but simply being tested more.
Right. Listen, I agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. I think all of we getting COVID a million times.
Yes.
I think we just covering out here. I think that it is.
Right.
Right? But that is just to show you. All the hullabaloo and all the thing you see and all the, right? And that is why it does look bad when things, as they say, things don't age well. Because when people was getting COVID and you send people as jackass in the scene. But you somehow getting COVID plenty. Right?
And not just that, when you're promoting the job and insinuating, sometimes flat out saying, you're protecting yourself from getting it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be fair, and they say you're protecting yourself from spreading it too. And right. Sharon seem to be getting it. So.
We don't know how much time they really spend together.
Yeah.
So who knows? But
a man says Sharon boil a special branch. She make a tea with a special branch.
You look into
I didn't say that, but
wrath
I just say that there's a meme I saw on social media.
Yes.
But I bigging up the man, dog. He's a champion because this man had problems. Mm-hmm. So he's not necessarily...
No, one of the things that is strange though is that he's still getting symptomatic COVID. No, he's not, because that's what they say, at least in this instance.
Yeah.
He was tested after he had flu-like symptoms. So it's like, why are you still getting symptomatic COVID? Like, why hasn't your body been able to neutralize that?
Like, nigga, why you still getting the old version of COVID? like you had this thing stored somewhere. Why you not getting new COVID like all of it?
I don't understand how your body could be, encountering this thing so regularly and still can't deal with it in a neutralizing way. Because like you say, I'm pretty sure everybody is encountering this thing on a regular basis. If you think of the common cold, right? I don't know. I don't get the cold 4 times in a year or 3 times in a year. You know what I mean? And the cold would have, a bunch of different strains, and you could kind of more easily understand how you could get reinfected and still get these symptoms. But like, you still getting this thing, and you just, why are you still getting symptoms? Like, how you should know you have
it. It might feel a little funny one day and you press on again.
Yeah. But to be fair to him, he could have a sniffle, and because of who he is, he had to be tested. They ain't gonna make no joke, the doctor, and I'm gonna test him one time. So it could be that they're saying he have flu-like symptoms or he's symptomatic, but it really ain't nothing, because he was delivering speeches to parliament. So it's not like he was sick couldn't come out of bed, you know what I mean? But when they say symptoms, I'm like, why are you still getting symptomatic? You should be.
You saw this headline?
Yeah. But I heard it I didn't see that headline. I saw it on the news today. They said it was 500 and something cases from Ash Wednesday to Sunday or something. So, and they had 8 deaths in the recording.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, that is basically the normal rolling average you were having all the time before Carnival. In terms of deaths, was rolling average one a day. Not you just, you see how they kind of start with the fearmongering and the trying to wild up a scene. But
listen, I don't know. I don't even think that's what they're doing anymore. I just think they just had to sell papers.
Right.
And just, putting these things in the headline. They know it will trigger people. It will, I don't even think that they're trying to push an agenda necessarily. I just think the only agenda them trying to push is they want people to view the articles. They want people click it. They want it to be shared on social media. So they go with that. I would have liked to have spoken to one of those people who was claiming doom and gloom, lockdown after Carnival.
Right.
Why? We go see, it go be pressure. We go have, just wheel them and drop them in front of the hospital. Don't even bother put them in a bed. We drop them in the mortuary. Because that's where they going. Because that's where we heading for. I like to have a chat with them now. Like, all right, okay.
What's going on?
How's that been working out? Has the XBB, that's a gazillion times worse than the other thing, the other strains, as according to them. Not me, honestly. That thing that was and we go end up just like China. And First of all, where's China?
Yeah, I know from China.
What has happened to China?
Yeah.
Just the other day, I had my wife listen to it too because I think it was very edifying. There's a podcast I listened to called Unheard from the UK, and he was interviewing China specialist. Well, he's a hedge fund manager, so hedge fund managers have to be very knowledgeable about everything that's going on around the world, and he specifically focuses on Chinese markets. He's based in Hong Kong, so he knows a lot about China, the economy, the politics of the country, and so on. And the theme of the episode was, where has all the doom and gloom about China gone? We went from, oh my God, China is going to be the next there's an Armageddon in China, to we don't hear about China in the news anymore. And the guy explained essentially, well, what China had was what every country had at some point in time. They opened up, they had a spike, now it's done. And he said in China, because they in China they managed to piss off everybody in the way that they dealt with it. And it's from the perspective of, for those who were very, very fearful of the virus, they were, well, for those who weren't fearful of the virus, they were upset about how long they were living under lockdowns. So as far as they're concerned, the government kept them under lockdown for way too long. And then for those who were very fearful of the virus, they were upset that the government lifted the restrictions all at once. So it's like, so they weren't pleasing anybody. So what the government did was they quickly tried to get the focus shifted away from COVID.
Right.
So they would do everything to keep COVID out of the news, right? They did everything to ensure that the economic boost that came from the lifting of restrictions, that it was like so big that people didn't have any time to talk about COVID. You know what I mean?
And probably they send the balloon over the States.
All of that to take COVID out of the headlines, and they start to talk more about Taiwan and and all that, because, and this is always what I've always been saying, these things have been managed. The reality hasn't shifted really, All that was managed was your mental state. And your mental state was manipulated to serve the agenda throughout. Right, the reality was the reality. Right?
What the only thing that's different was the reporting.
Exactly. The reality was the reality. I'm not saying that nothing we did made any difference at all, because I do think that locking down would have helped.
When the awful variants were here,
yes,
it would have helped.
Right. Not necessarily saving lives per se, but preserving the healthcare system for sure, right?
Yeah.
But jump high, jump low, everybody was going to go through. At some point in time, everybody has gone through it. New Zealand, who was being everybody's gone through it. They all went through some point in time where they lift restrictions and people did. Right? So all that, but what, and the virus hasn't disappeared. But if we stop talking about it, then the same thing people were saying we could not do at all. We couldn't operate without.
Because when they know started about having the carnival and in China think, no, we're having carnival. I tell a girl, on Instagram, so you telling me they're seeing this and this, not on Instagram, on TikTok, and they're seeing and they still, not me. And I wish I remember with her name now to go back and say, yo, things you living.
Yeah. Did the Grim Reaper pass through Trinidad and take souls like he was going mad? No, it didn't.
All it takes is money. All it takes is people money. That is it.
You understand? Yes, they reported in news 8 people died. I think all but one they said were elderly. They didn't say what elderly meant. One they said was middle-aged, and they all were toting. One was no known comorbidities, but that's probably one of the elderly people, and everybody has multiple comorbidities, right? Again, every life is precious, right? But is it the same? Because the minute you tell somebody that, they'll say, well, yeah, but so you saying it's nothing. So, but people still dying. People die every day, bro. People die every day. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news or to break it to you, but people die. We ain't all come here to turn stone, right?
And I always say, if you believe in God, and he always say, that's God's way. That's God says your time.
Again, my thing is, okay, people are dying, but what the question isn't whether people are dying or not. It's the question, what are we going to do with that? So because there's a possibility that you can die, you're supposed to live with the fear of this thing at the fore of your mind. Well, if you choose to do that, then that's fine. But don't prescribe that for the entire nation. You understand what I'm saying? The people must at some point in time make the decision, okay, well, this thing exists. How am I going to live? Am I going to live am I going to let this thing dictate my daily activity? Everything I do is going to surround whether I am going to contract this thing or not. Or do I say, okay, well, this is not just another one of the risks, another way that it's possible, that I could die. And I calculate the risk of that. I just move on with my life.
I mean, you could either die from COVID or living in Trinidad. I mean, whether or not. I play.
So, but people, they kind of want their paranoia and their neurotic behavior, to be justified. So that is why they like the doomsday stories, because it justifies that sense of fear and paranoia that they have. But the world is moving on, bro.
I'm talking about I had a message in the group tomorrow. You might tell any group, people outside get a little antsy before Carnival. I go back in the group, yeah, what going on? And heal them, I gotta heal them tomorrow. I said it's very shut down for this week. Next week, we see what's going on again in this wonderful Trinidad Republic.
And around the world too.
Yeah.
We didn't get to. There was something on top, but we too late for that.
Do you feel like touch on next week?
Probably not. It might be too late by then. But
so,
don't be
right. And for the sports people, a white man can jump because a white boy win the dunk out.
Mac McClung, yeah, he bad, you know. He bad.
Yeah. Big respect to the he's short too.
Dog. Ain't gonna take long, eh? But the NBA need to completely scrap that All-Star weekend. It is a waste of people's time.
Yeah, I see us commenting on
it's a complete waste of
Twitter.
time. Me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Complete waste of time. That All-Star game is garbage.
I forget to watch it. I forget to watch it next day. I watch it dunk out, but I forget to watch the All-Star game the next day.
The skills challenge. The dunk out has lost its appeal because of Instagram and highlight culture, right? People, we get to see, you could watch Instagram on any given day and see
amazing dunks. Yeah.
Amazing dunks from youth men you never hear about, And but the NBA has been complaining about this for a long time. Obviously, they want stars to compete. They wanted to go back to the old days when the superstars of the league competed in the dunk out. Dominic Wilkins went up against Jordan and Kobe and went up against Vince Carter. Well, he didn't go up against Vince Carter, but Vince Carter, Kobe. The last big star to compete in the dunk out is probably Blake Griffin. And that's just how long when he was a big star, right? So that's another reason why people don't care about that. The skills challenges are a waste of time. The Rising Stars thing where they had them, bring men from the G League to play in this thing, you know? The G League now, dog. Like, what am I watching, dog? What is happening? And then the All-Star game was the least competitive. It's gotten ridiculous over the past few years, but it was the least competitive I've ever seen. That was not fun to watch in any way, shape, or form.
How they build the teams now? Because it might used to be East versus West.
Yeah, now they're doing this. Oh, dog. They do this thing where they pick these premier stars, right? To be fair, I don't even know how they pick that. Like, if the league does just decide, it was Steph and LeBron for a time. Now the last couple of years have been Giannis and LeBron, right? So they're the two team captains.
Right.
And before they used to have to pick from like their coast.
Right.
Right? But now they have this drafting, which is really ridiculous, bro, because what they're doing is they're bringing up all the people who became starters, who got chosen to be all-star starters on the all-star team, right? They have them up on the stage and the two men pick them. Like always pick when they go down and sweat.
Yeah.
Dog, if you want to make a man who's an all-star starter feel like shit, let him be the last man picked. Yeah. And the guy who that happened to, Laurie Markkinen, he made his first all-star appearance, bro, this year. He make he get to start the all-star game. He was just in the starting lineup, and you still make that man feel like shit because he was the last person to be picked. Yes, he's an all-star, But it's like, oh, everybody get me.
Yeah, and then now you're going to play on a team that you know they didn't really want you, but yeah.
Dog, the NBA, somebody told the NBA, or somewhere along the line, the NBA got a kind of reputation for being innovators, right? But now they can't stop innovating. So every year they're tinkering and changing, and they're just like throwing darts at the board, seeing what will stick. It's just like, bro, or they're just taking this thing to the toilet. And the ratings showing it, it was like, hardly anybody watching it.
Yeah, well, as I say, like, because I forget to watch it. You understand? And nobody on social media even posting. They just say, hey, could you hear about this game going on, boy? Yeah. So
fans don't care. The players don't seem to care. Just scrap it. So anyway.
Yeah, we gone. Easy.